Ever wonder what most people are worried about right now? It's not the usual stuff like deadlines or coffee after 6 p.m. It's the fear of economic uncertainty and what it means for their career. And that's a shame. But here's the thing. Some jobs actually grow during economic downturns. And the best part is some of these you can actually do from anywhere. So today I'm going to be sharing the 10 most recession-proof remote jobs that are not just surviving, they're thriving. We're talking about roles where companies are desperately hiring. Jobs where your skills become more valuable during tough times, not less. Now I know this sounds too good to be true, but my team and I have done the research. We spent countless hours diving into the Bureau of Labor Statistics data, salary trends, online databases, and real stories from people in these roles. And some of these jobs are seeing growth rates of over 30% in the next decade. And the best part is most of them start at 6 figures. So if you're tired of worrying about job security, hit that like button and let's dive into these recession-proof careers. Number 1 is data scientist. Ever met someone who gets excited about spreadsheets? Well, data scientists are like the cool kids of the spreadsheet world, except they're making 6 figures working from home. Data scientists are the modern day fortune tellers of business. Instead of crystal balls, they use Python, SQL, and machine learning to predict everything from customer behavior to market trends. And here's what makes this role special. Companies are literally fighting over these people. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, or BLS, projects a massive 36% growth in this field by the early 2030s. And that's not just growth. We're desperate for talent territory. Now let me share a real story from someone in the field. A data scientist on Reddit went from making 24K as a grad student to 146K working remotely in just a few years. But here's the most interesting part. You don't need a PhD to break in. Another data scientist shared that their biggest tip after 4 years wasn't about complex math, it was learning how to explain technical concepts to non-technical people. And during recessions, companies need data scientists even more because when times get tough, businesses need someone who can spot trends and save money. In the salary range, we're talking $163,000 to $289,000 per year. Absolutely nuts. Now you might be thinking, Shane, this sounds great, but I'm obviously not qualified for the job, so it's basically a waste of time. Well, there's a lot of more entry-level jobs that involve data that you can get into. For instance, data analyst is a relatively entry-level job, and many people are able to break into that without getting a college degree or having previous experience. And one of the best ways to do that is with the Google Data Analyst Professional Certificate, which I made an entire video about, and you can check out the certificate itself by clicking the link in the description and the pinned comment below. Next is Information Security Analyst. And if you think cybersecurity is boring, let me introduce you to the digital detectives of the corporate world. These are the people who get paid to hack things, legally of course. And information security analysts are basically the immune system of the internet. And just like we're never getting rid of viruses in the real world, cyber threats aren't going anywhere either. Now let me break down some mind-blowing numbers for you. The Bureau of Labor Statistics shows this field growing by 33% by the early 2030s. That's an additional 59,100 jobs in just 10 years. And there's a lot of jobs that are relatively related to this job as well that aren't counted. And here's where it gets interesting because let me share a story from someone in the trenches. A security analyst recently shared how they work as a first responder for cyber attacks. And instead of ambulances, they're rushing to stop data breaches. And they described how their heart starts racing when they discover a compromised account. It's like being a digital detective, piecing together how attacks happened and hunting down the bad guys. So tell me in the comments if you like this career or any of the other ones on the list, or if you think there's another career that you would rather I go over in these videos, because I read the comments and there's a good chance I'll go over that one. But here's the reality about this career path. The starting salary is about $92,000 and the top end is around $148,000 per year. And the best part is you can do this entire job from your home office. And during economic downturns, companies can't afford to cut security. In fact, cyber attacks actually increase during recessions. Think about it. When was the last time you heard a company say that they need less security? It's pretty much never happened. And with more companies going digital, this field is only getting hotter. Next is a software developer. And this one was really hyped hard for the last 10 years. There was basically an entire niche on YouTube of people that were teaching other people how to either learn software development or get into software development. And the truth is there is a lot of opportunities out there to get in, but that also means there's a lot of people trying to get in, right? The whole learn to code campaign became a huge thing and millions of people tried to become software developers. And so a normal software developer job is very difficult to get at an entry level. However, if you niche down, which is what we'll talk about here in a moment, it is much more likely that you will be able to get a software developer job. Because the Bureau of Labor Statistics still shows that there's currently 1.8 million software developers in the US, and by the early 2030s, they're going to be adding another 327,000 jobs. And this shows a 17% increase. But here's where it gets interesting. A veteran developer recently broke down the reality of the industry. Most developers aren't building the next AI revolution at Google. They're making good money. We're talking $82,000 to $143,000 a year working on essential business software. And during recessions, companies need developers more than ever because when budgets get tight, automation becomes crucial. And although there might be a bit of a layoff, it's likely not going to be nearly as bad as most other industries. With that being said, there are layoffs, and in many cases, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, it was likely because they were not skilled developers, or they were trying to get a job that was already filled. There was basically no demand. And the entry-level market is crowded, right? Everyone and their grandma is taking coding boot camps, but here's the secret. The real opportunity isn't at the entry-level positions, it's at the niche mid-level positions. Okay, companies are still desperate for people who are mid-level skill when it comes to software development. And so it's really important to specialize in things. For instance, there's a lot of opportunities in React. There's also a lot of opportunities in learning any type of cloud-related software, right? So if you combine coding skills with a little bit of cybersecurity skills, or you combine coding skills with a little bit of cloud-related skills, like knowing AWS or GCP or Azure, right? These are very common cloud softwares, then your skills are going to be massively in demand. So I've made videos about this before. If you're confused about which software development type skills to learn, definitely check those videos out. But there's still a ton of opportunity here, especially for mid-level skills. And of course, if you're a very skilled software developer, you're pretty much going to have people fighting over you all the time. Have you been applying to remote jobs for months with nothing to show for it? Remote Job Accelerator 2.0 gives you 3 essential tools. You'll get resume templates with AI prompts that increase your chances of landing high-paying remote jobs. Oh, and by the way, these resume templates are tailored to the jobs that you see on this channel and the specific jobs that we post. Plus, you'll get filtered job listings that eliminate ghost jobs and scams, and proven trainings to build your job landing strategy. And this system helped hundreds of people land interviews in days, not months. And until now, this was only for my coaching clients, but I'm making it available for just $50 per month. And this offer won't last long, so click the link in the description and in the pinned comment below to check it out. Or if you're watching this on TV, you can scan the QR code right here. Next is Operations Research Analyst. Ever wondered who makes sure your Amazon package arrives on time? Well, meet the wizards of efficiency, the Operations Research Analysts. These are the people who solve problems you didn't even know existed. So let me paint you a picture of what these folks actually do. Imagine trying to coordinate thousands of airline flights without any of them crashing into each other. That's the kind of puzzle these analysts solve before breakfast. And the numbers are pretty fascinating. BLS shows a 23% growth rate in the next 10 years. And when it comes to anecdotes, a lot of people say good things as well. For instance, this person was an OR analyst working in the Air Force, and they shared how they went from checking boxes at the Pentagon to becoming a war gamer, which is pretty cool. And another analyst broke down why this field isn't going anywhere. Even as AI or machine learning grows, OR remains irreplaceable for solving complex physical world problems. And the salary is about $106,000 to $189,000 a year, right? Logistics has been a massive problem for tens of thousands, basically all of human history, and it is still a huge problem to this day. And as much as you try to automate things, it basically just more problems pop up. So there's always got to be people who make sure that stuff gets from point A to point B as efficiently as possible. And there's actually some really hilarious videos from people who show just how incompetent, logistics and shipping industry is still to this day. They'll put air tags in packages and show how the package flies all over the world 20 times before it gets to its destination. So there is massive amounts of need for people who are skilled in this industry still to this day. And the people who literally optimize for a living can get paid really good money. And you can do the job remotely. And there's lots of opportunities for airlines, supermarkets, military operations, all kinds of different factories, storage warehouses, etc., etc. And these analysts are the secret weapon of every major organization. Now, by the way, guys, if you're curious about how I've grown this YouTube channel and how I make these videos so entertaining yet educational, I am going to be hosting a live YouTube training on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I basically just revealed the exact strategies that I used to grow my channel to multiple 6 figures per month. So that's another free training for you. All right, number 5 is a statistician. And statisticians are the only people who can tell you exactly how boring their job is. But here's the plot twist. They're also the people making $128K working in their pajamas. So think of statisticians as the professional mythbusters of the business world. Now, I'll say right away, for this type of position, you have to be be massively good at math. But all kinds of different industries hire people who are good at stats, because stats is one of the most useful types of mathematics. And this statistician from a major pharmaceutical company broke down their typical day. It's not just crunching numbers in Excel, they're designing experiments that determine if new medicines actually work. And the growth in this field is fascinating. We're looking at an 11% increase in jobs in the next 10 years. Now here's what makes this career special. These jobs are everywhere, and I mean everywhere. One statistician shared that they've seen positions at the FBI, NASA, even the Forest Service. And the starting salary is $72K, and the top end is around $128K per year. And during recessions, companies need statisticians even more to analyze risk and cut costs. And here's a really cool part about being a statistician. You get to be wrong 5% of the time, and it's actually part of the job. And with remote work becoming standard, you can analyze data from anywhere in the world. Now, another career that is similar to statistician, and it's also very practical, is actuary. And for this one, you also have to be massively good at math. And you also have to pass some incredibly difficult exams. But if you're able to get the accolades, you can get access to some pretty chill jobs that also pay incredibly well, and they're very stable. And there's a lot of remote opportunities. So BLS projects a 22% growth rate in the next 10 years, and actuaries describe their work as less interesting but more stable and probably better work-life balance. So in this economy, especially if there's a recession or something similar to a recession, boring is great. We want boring and stable. And the salary range is $89,000 to $163,000 a year, and that's for what some say is just 3 hours of real work per week. And during recessions, these folks become even more valuable, because when everything is uncertain, companies need someone who can calculate risk. And the best part about being an actuary is you get paid to predict the future. And if you're wrong, it's probably because someone lived longer than expected. And yes, you can do this entire job remotely, because apparently death and taxes wait for no one, but they can be calculated from anywhere. Next is a medical and health services manager. And remember when healthcare was just doctors and nurses? Well, now, especially in the US, we've got entire virtual hospitals running from laptops. And let me show you why healthcare managers are the secret MVPs of modern medicine. According to BLS, this field is growing at 29%. And over the next 10 years, that is absolutely phenomenal. And this manager went from running 3 mental health clinics to becoming a process improvement specialist. And they added a black belt in Lean Six Sigma to their toolkit. And so this goes to show that there are many opportunities outside of just this job alone, and the skill set transfers to many other things. And what makes this role recession-proof is, first of all, healthcare is one of the most recession-proof industries. People don't stop getting sick during economic downturns. If anything, more people get sick. And the salary range is $71,000 to $124,000 a year, and that's just a start, and there's other jobs down the line where you can get paid a lot more. And an experienced manager shared that they consistently get offers above $120K. And of course, a lot of it can be done remotely, especially with the onset of telehealth. And during recessions, healthcare is one of the last industries to feel the pinch, because let's face it, you can't outsource a hospital. Next is a software QA analyst. And this is a job where you need a little bit of coding skill, but really what you're doing is just checking the quality. So if you're the type of person who just notices problems all the time, you're like a grammar Nazi, you always notice spelling issues, then this might be a really good position for you, because that's literally going to be your job. You're going to be doing quality assurance and quality control on other people's software or code. Now, like I said, usually you're gonna have to know some sort of just like basic coding. In some cases, they'll actually, make people QA analysts that don't really know much about coding, and they just report their findings, but it's extremely helpful if you know a little bit about code. And it's projected over the next 10 years that they're gonna be adding 327,000 jobs. And a QA analyst compared their job to being a detective. They said the more clues you find, the better you are at your job. And the pay range is $71,000 to $121,000 a year for essentially trying to break software all day.
Oh, try password.
That's the password. We're in.
But here's what makes this career truly recession-proof. When companies cut budgets, they can't afford software mistakes. And an experienced QA engineer shared something interesting. They said it's one of the best stepping stones into software development. And the best part is you can test software from anywhere in the world. Think about it. Bugs don't care where you find them. All right, next one is logistician. And this is another one of those positions that's all about logistics. And they're the reason you can order something at midnight and have it by breakfast on your doorstep the next day. These are the supply chain wizards hazards keeping the world moving. And in 2025, they're doing it all from their home offices. Now, the field itself is growing 19% over the next 10 years. Like, think about it. This is a field that's been growing like the last 10,000 years, and it just won't stop growing. It's just becoming more and more important. And when companies need to cut costs, who do they turn to? The people who optimize everything. Now, the starting salary here is $59,000 and top end is around $97,000 a year. Now, by the way, if you're wondering like how do I actually land these jobs, I actually put together a free guide called Never Job Hunt Again, 30 days to a killer online presence for remote professionals. And you can check that out by clicking the link down in the description and the pinned comment below, because it's going to show you exactly how to position yourself for these high-paying remote roles. Because as useful as these videos are showing you a bunch of different options, I want you to actually land the job. So click the link in the description to grab your copy. Now, back to logisticians. Let me share with you a real story from someone in the field. This person transitioned from customer service into logistics with just an AA in music, right? So something that's completely unrelated. And now they're coordinating entire supply chains remotely. Another logistician shared how they went from entry level to 6 figures, and they started at a 3PL company handling basic shipping. And now they're managing multi-million-dollar supply chains from home. And this one is obviously recession-proof because the supply chains can't shut down during a recession. Like, that is absolutely essential and it has to keep going. Next is a computer and information research scientist. And not only is it, computer and information research, which is basically data related, but it's a bunch of different careers that's related to it. Basically, any career that's related to data is going to fall into this category. And the difference between a regular programmer and a computer scientist is that, a regular programmer might build apps, but the other one builds the future. And these are the people making sure that planes don't fall out of the sky. And no, that's not an exaggeration. Let's look at what makes this role special. According to BLS, this is growing 26% over the next 10 years. And here's the really interesting part. A computer research scientist shared their experience. They're not just writing code, they're designing radar systems for aircraft. We're talking serious life or death responsibility here. And the salary starts at $92K and it goes up to $170K per year. And that's actually just the beginning. There's lots of other jobs they can go into that pay even better. And your job is looking for technologies that could change everything. Think about it. During recessions, what do companies need most? Innovation that gives them an edge. And in many cases, when recessions happen, companies actually go into vacuum mode where they're trying to basically vacuum up all of the top talent if they happen to be let go at another company. This seriously happens all the time, especially in the tech world. And the best part is you can do most of this work remotely. Now, you might be wondering, where can I find these jobs? Well, I've got a video that's going to blow your mind. It's going to help you with that exact problem. Click here to discover 10 work from home job companies that are always hiring.